So I know this video is supposed to be about studying, but I just started wondering, what if rubber duckies had drone cam? So this is kind of a reenactment of that. But anyways, I am a certified lazy person. My main life goal is to sleep. I really try to study as little as possible. But at the same time, I do like to maintain decent grades, which is why I thought this video would be perfect, because I can share how I study or try to get good grades while being a lazy person. And if you fit the, certification standards and you are a lazy person like myself, I hope this video helps you out. So the first thing I'm going to mention is to sleep over study. I'm not just saying this because I like to sleep because I'm a lazy person, but there's actually scientific studies that prove that sleeping is actually beneficial for studying and becoming a better student, because without sleep and being sleep deprived, you aren't as focused and your attention span is much shorter. And also, sleeping can help improve your performance and your memory as well, which are essential for studying. Personally, every single time I decided to cram instead of study, I've actually done worse than when I actually, slept at a decent time, had enough sleep before I actually took a test or a quiz. So if you're not sleeping well, I think one of the best strategies to study, is to sleep well. So the second thing I'm going to mention here is to watch review videos. Obviously, this isn't as easy as just sleeping, but I think it is almost as easy, because all you have to do is go on YouTube and search up your unit and then the subject and then just review videos. So for example, US History Unit 5 review video, and a bunch of these 10 to 15 minute videos will come up, and all you have to do is click on that and just watch it. And so you're just basically studying for 10 to 15 minutes, which is not a lot. Compared to the people who are using their textbooks or doing all the practice problems. And I think this method is effective because instead of having to summarize everything yourself, this video summarizes it for you, so it presents all the information that you need to know in a compact format, so you don't have to spend time looking for information and trying to gather all the things that you need to know. Oh yeah, and I forgot to mention that I will link below some of the review videos and review series that I've used in the past. So the next thing I'm going to mention is to find time during school to study, whether it's during a break or during class after you finish your classwork. So the reason why I'm saying this is because I find myself much more motivated and productive during school, because I'm being watched in a sense while I study. On the other hand, when I go home, I'm much more unmotivated and lazy. And also when I'm at school, I'm around my friends who can help me study and I can help them study as well. So it's a more encouraging environment. So what I do is find a time, whether it's for me it would be an advisory, which is this free period we have in school, or there might be an easy class where you don't actually have that much work, so you can try to finish that as quickly as possible, so that you have some time to do other classwork or other studying in that class, and that way you don't have to do much work at home. So the fourth thing I like to mention here is to study in short periods, which is kind of funny because I'm literally reading some textbook about periods. But anyways, if you're a lazy person like me, I don't really like to study for longer than 30 minutes to an hour. So I just set myself a timer and study for that short period, which is a lot more doable and motivating than 5 hours of studying like some people do. But anyways, yeah. The good thing about this, setting yourself for a shorter amount of time, is that first of all, you actually do end up studying, because 30 minutes is not that big of a number. And also, you potentially could get into a state of flow, because just even a few minutes of concentrated studying could get you into this state where you forget about the outside world and you're really concentrated and focused. And this is good because you get a lot of things done. This doesn't really happen to me all the time, but when it does, I do get a lot done. So the next thing I'm going to mention is to study with friends. So if you're a lazy person like me, you're obviously unmotivated to study. So it's you work a lot better when you're working with your friends, because you enjoy hanging out with your friends. But instead of doing the traditional hanging out, you can just study, so that you actually get work done while also hanging out, and that's more fun. And if your friends are smarter than you, they can help you out as well. So I think this is a good way to get work done. So the sixth thing I'd like to mention here is to go over your past quizzes and tests. And the reason why I'm mentioning this is because this is just one other way. You don't actually have to take notes or read the textbook to study. And this is good, especially if you make mistakes in your past tests and quizzes, because then you can go over those specific questions you missed and figure out like why you got them wrong, so then next time you see the similar question, you don't make the same mistake. And obviously that's really effective and can improve your grade. So the next thing I'm going to mention is to ask for help. So obviously I wasn't able to get a teacher, or I didn't actually ask for a teacher that could help me with this video, but so I got my teddy bear instead, who does not have a brain, so I don't really know how she could help me. But anyways, the reason why I'm saying this is because like when you don't know a concept or you don't know how to answer a question, you try to keep on answering it or like understanding it, even though you know you physically can't. Like that's a waste of time because you're actually not going to make any progress. So it's much more effective if you just go out, ask for help that you actually need, and then understand the concept or figure out how to solve the problems so that you can do more problems or actually study in a way that's productive. So the next thing I'm going to mention here is to record yourself while studying. So I think this is an effective method because if there's a recording and there's like basically someone watching you in a sense, you're more likely to study and not procrastinate as much. And especially if you're using like your computer or something to record yourself, then you're probably not going to go onto your computer and start getting distracted because it's already being recorded. So I like to use this method to make sure that I actually stay focused. So the next tip I have here is to make connections or look for patterns. So in this, you don't actually have to take notes or like write things out. You can do this in your head or, just like use your whiteboard or something or talk to a person about it. I like to do this, finding connections between like topics within the subject you're learning or across subjects. So for example, what I'm learning in biology might connect to what I'm learning in chemistry. So I can make connections there and think about like how like these are related, and actually helps you create more connections in your brain and help you memorize things better. And so like within a topic, I use this thing called like 6 degrees of separation, I think it's called. It's a technique I learned where I use this in history mainly, but you basically get like 2 random events that at first sight do not seem like they're related to each other, and then put them at like number 1 and like number 6 or 7, and then look for events or think about how like different elements of that unit or history can like be in between the number 1 and number 7, and then like look for connections in between them. So it's kind of hard to explain, so like show you an example here, but yeah. So let's say you're taking some kind of imaginary course called like animal science or something. So let's say like your first topic here is cats, and then you want to end off your next random like idea or topic or history event or whatever is like Egypt. So then you have to think about like things that are in between. So cats, and then you can relate that to paws, and like the connection would be cats have paws. And then the next one could be like this is obviously like improvised, so I really don't have any idea what I'm doing, but the next thing could be like pink, because cat paws are pink. And then the next thing could be like river, because some rivers are pink. And then a river, it could be like Nile, because I don't know, the longest river in the world is the Nile. And then Egypt, because Egypt contains the Nile River. So this is a very random example. I feel like there's actually a better connection between cats and Egypt. But anyways, this is just an example. So I hope you can see like how, by doing this, you can make connections between cats and paws, and like these concepts are connecting inside your brain. So the last tip I have here is to record and summarize by speaking. So if you're like me, I'm a lazy person. I do not like to take my notes by writing them because I don't want to use my hand. So what I do is, instead of writing, I basically record my notes like using audio. So every time like I read a few pages or a chapter or something, I'll basically like try to summarize what I just learned by like speaking it in like a few minute recording. Or also even better would just be to teach someone else and just like go to your friend and just talk about what you learned in that chapter or what you learned in class, in like a minute or 2, because that way you do end up like synthesizing things in your brain. So it is a form of active learning, but at the same time you don't have to like do anything physically. You just have to like speak out, which isn't really that tiring. Hopefully these tips worked out to help you motivate yourself to study, even if you're a little bit lazy like me. And if you have any feedback or if you thought these tips were helpful, please let me know in the comments. And see you next time.